Good morning, everybody. It's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Glad you are joining me here today on this episode on Sunday, August 9th. If you do me a favor and type in where you're joining me from, I have people on Facebook, I have people on LinkedIn, and if you'd give me some little thumbs up, that would be nice. Or if you really want to go crazy, you can give me some hearts. And if you're on LinkedIn, you just have the applause there. So thanks for joining. Hey, Styling with Stacy. Glad you're here with us. Sunny Saratoga Springs this morning. Sweet. Joanne, yeah, my clock always goes off at 9 a.m. Well, I wanted to start off with this report from Coresight Insight, who just announced that in the U.S., the total sales jumped by 9.2% year over year in June. And that's more than we initially had thought. And it shows that the retail industry is far from being decimated in the wake of COVID-19, but the gains are kind of uneven, right? So in selected areas like home improvement retailers were up 23%, sports and leisure goods retailers were up 22%, and food retailers are up 11%. And in total, retail sales have risen by 28 billion year over year in June. So I hope that gives you some good news. Again, the idea is to make sure that you are finding the hope wherever you can, and in strong reports like that, it gives us hope. Yes, home improvement seems to be, if you're dealing with how to make the home better or how to get out of the home, right? So camping or RVs or spas or boating, or you're looking at furniture in some other ways, you should be eating up. Who's having a tough time? Absolutely, apparel is, because an awful lot of people are saying, "Oh, why dress up for Zoom?" And that's why I'm wearing one of my favorite shirts today. You know, you guys all think that I need to have my line of shirts. This is a Robert Graham. I usually wear this when I'm going to Texas or somewhere in the Southwest when I'm on a plane. And I found myself thinking, why the hell don't I wear my favorite shirt for you guys? So there you go. I wanted to share a little bit of a story this morning. Hey, I guess I should say hello to some of you all because there's so many of you. Camilo from Colombia. I hope you heard me when I was down in Bogota a few years ago. Breda, I hope you're there with Owen this morning. Hey, Tristan, I see you're there. Susan, hey, I'm glad you're there from Parker, Colorado. John, as always, a regular from Huntsville. My goodness, there's so many of you. Don't be shy. Type in where you're joining me in from. And by the way, I'm doing this live on Sunday, August 9th. If you have a question, you want to answer it, you want me to answer it, you can type it in and I will get to it. But I have a pretty decent amount of questions this morning. And Robert, I am answering your question this morning as well as Siopin. And I never know how to say your name, so I am going to butcher it there, but I'm at least answering your question today, so I hope that helps. Hey, Omar from Oman, that's great. And Hell from the USA. All right, Jonathan. All right. So I had a high school friend who I would always go out, I don't know, several times a month with, and we'd go out to dinner. Maybe sometimes just the two of us, maybe it would be a bunch of other people. But every story was kind of sad and depressing. It was always kind of like a schleprock moment, right? And I would actually feel worse for having made the time to put this in my calendar. If any of you felt like that, you know, give me a thumbs up. Give me yes. Is that something that you've ended up having? You can also just say yes, that's fine. And, you know, it's funny. After a while, I realized that I had changed, not her. She'd always been this person. But I had moved on into wanting more from my life. And unfortunately, she had kind of been stuck in that my life sucks stories. And how many of your friends right now are sharing those stories? How many of your friends are saying that? Put a number here in the comment box. How many of your friends are in that my life sucks stories? I'm going to wait for you. Go ahead. Just enter it in there in comments. How many? Just do a quick one hand. Is it more than one? Is it 5? Is it a dozen? How many of your friends are starting to carry too many to count? Yeah, that's the trouble, is that oftentimes we end up letting these people do those four's a lot, because I became aware of the saying that to see how successful you're going to be, notice the 5 people you surround yourself with, and that's who you're going to become. Because either you're going to rise to their level or they're going to drag you down to theirs. And that's ultimately what I wanted to start off with you today, that just think of the people that you are surrounding yourself with. Are they people that fill you with possibilities? Are they people that fill you with anxiety and fear? Because we have a stark divide right now that has to happen. There is no going backwards. But if you want to go forward, you have got to find the 5 people who are going to make you successful. And I love the stories several of you have sent me today, this week, about how I influenced you and you found hope in the last 4 months, 5 months. My goodness, 5 months, crazy. And you ended up taking a change in the way that you looked at your business and your life. And just, I want to start off today by saying, don't let somebody's other story become yours unless they have been successful, because success leaves clues. And then you can look at that and say, oh, I could do that too. That's the people we need to surround ourselves with. So I know there's a lot of chat boards and people say, oh, I was, you should see the things are blowing up because people are angry about, if they're angry about stuff and they're blowing up, ask yourself, is this going to help me make more money today? Because if it isn't, why am I devoting any time? Because that's my whole goal with you, is to help you make more money in all of this. So I want you to write down, does that resonate for you? If it is, give me some thumbs up, give me some love, because otherwise Facebook and LinkedIn have absolutely no way of telling me that, right? So give me some feedback here. I'm watching you. I'm watching you as I am going through. So before I get to your questions, I have 2 dates I want you to write down. Tuesday, I have 2 workshops I'm going to be giving online only. Tuesday, August 18th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Mark your calendars. 3 tips for adapting to the new customer expectations. A lot of you are meeting with success using text and video. And in a tight half hour, I'm going to show you a free tool that I think can help you drive sales. It's also going to be able to give you some clues as to where the customer is going in a new way, and not to be afraid of it, but to see it and go, I want more of that. So I hope that helps for you. So make sure that you write that date in, Tuesday, August 18th. And then 2 weeks, 2 weeks later, Thursday, August 27th at 11 a.m., I'm going to be starting my Comeback Sprint. It's a 20-minute workshop. It's going to strip away your excuses, pump you up, and leave you empowered to create a better business and increase your sales for this holiday season. So are you in? Does that sound good to you? Give me some love. Give me some thumbs up. Let me know that you're out there, because otherwise you're going to devolve into some stupid conversation that's not going to make you more money. And I'm here to keep that spirit alive, because life is too short for us to be anxious and fearful, especially when it comes to being able to live the life that you want. You know, I did a poll on my Facebook page this last week, and I said, is it better to be hungry or satisfied, or full? And 95% of you said it's better to be hungry. I would agree. There are so many opportunities. It's a matter now of trying to say, oh, maybe I should have, well, how do I whittle that down so that I can see it and go with it? So there you go. Hey, Adana, glad you're here this morning. Peter, good. Hey, Angelo from Italy. Sweet, sweet. Well, let's get to some of your quick questions here. John says, very, very cryptically, dealing with bad reviews. I'm always concerned, John, when I read that with an S after it, because if it's more than one, I mean, most of us get somebody raves about us or dives in on us and haters. We get one of those every now and then, but when it's like multiple, it makes me start to scratch my head like, is there a problem here? So, if they're real, if it's a bad review, it's real, well, then you want to make sure that you acknowledge what happened. You want to invite them to contact you so that you can fix it so it never happens again, and then do whatever it takes. More often than not, that's going to be in a system that broke down in your store, either through training or through processes, and you can fix that, right? So if it's a bad one, though, you can still acknowledge their feeling and invite them to contact you. All you want is that look of transparency and openness in your bad review afterwards. That makes a difference. Hope that helps. Robert, following your advice, for the past 11 years, I have never been a discounter at my oil and vinegar store. I just opened a new store over the 4th of July. I should slow down. I'm trying to get through this too quickly. It's an entirely different concept, selling hot sauce. My average hot sauce ticket is about half of my average oil and vinegar one. One of the things I did when I put my inventory together is I built an extra $1 nearly into every SKU. I'm considering giving it up if the customer buys 5 bottles of hot sauce for the purpose of raising average ticket. We do a decent job of getting people to buy additional items, but just needs to be more. Any ideas? So, Robert, it's a tough one. I don't buy quantities of hot sauce. People would typically buy 1 or 2. So the person that's going to buy 5 to save $1 or something, I don't think that's going to make you more money. you've got to be have better complementary items or build a rundle. I talked about that last week, a recurring revenue subscription that you'll send out to people. So you'll just give you, I don't know, $20 a month and you'll send something out. I would rather you put time into that than trying to figure out how to discount them, because I would rather have that recurring revenue coming in for, God forbid, we go through another lockdown or there's a nuclear bomb or somebody has ammonium sulfate in a warehouse for years and nobody takes it seriously, right? There's a lot of things that could happen, but the more you can get that revenue stream is being reliable, the better it's going to be. And I did a quick search, which I think you should do, Robert. It was just like gifts for people who like hot sauce, and up comes BuzzFeed's 21 gifts for people who like hot sauce. And there's a lot of good things that you could do in there as well. So take it from somebody else that's done it. Success leaves clues, and I'm happy to go through and take it. Mark, money, yes, but keep your ethics and true to yourself. That's real success. Well, yes, that's certainly true. Hey, Virginia, glad you're here. Hey, Owen, glad you guys joined from Ireland on Sales RX. That is so exciting. I'm glad to have you partner with you for your success. Bill, what do you think about the gas convenience store business? I don't see a question there, Bill. What do I think about it? It's going to continue. I don't know what you want me to say. Siobhan, I have a children's clothing and toy store. I'm concerned there'll be less back to school shopping for clothes with so much virtual learning. Any suggestions? So yes, the money is going to be going to technology. We know that, but you're going to have to make the case of boredom with kids wearing the same clothes every day. So I would, if I was a toy store or an apparel store, I would talk about how the effects of doing the same thing over and over kills the human spirit, which is part of the reason why I wore my fancy shirt here today. In case you tuned in late, it's got all kinds of cool stuff with wagon wheels. But we are allowing ourselves to say, oh, I just get in my sweatpants every morning and I wear the same thing. Well, if you're an apparel store or a kid's store, doesn't matter, do videos talking about how it impacts the way we dress, is the way that it affects our creativity, it affects our outlook in life. And if you're anxious and you're bored and you're scared, the easy thing to do is change the toys, change the shirt. That would be, if you're a jewelry retailer, I would do the exact same thing. I would be trying to say, put on the suit and look different. If you're selling to salespeople, oh, no one's wearing suits anymore. Now's the time to wear a suit. Now's the time to put on a tie. Now's the time to show a little kid how to wear a tie, because everyone keeps saying, oh, it's fundamentally changed. People are still going to die. People are still going to get married. People are still going to get a divorce, have a kid, move, get a job, gain too much money. I don't think it'll be gain too much money. They'll gain too much weight. They'll have lost weight. You name it. Those aren't going to change. So why are we allowing ourselves to be this idea that, yes, we're all just going to go into the matrix and, be this disposable battery? I think that's ridiculous. So grab it by the horns and say, how can I? Once you commit, getting on a platform here, I think, but once you commit to say, I'm going to be successful, then you start looking for opportunities to say, okay, I'm in. That's going to happen, right? I'm going to run the marathon. I'm going to be the best dad ever. Once you make that commitment, then you go back and find the hows, because the hows will show up. You'll say like, so how could I run the marathon in 4 months? What would I need to do? How do I? And then you start unpacking. Well, this is no different. How do I scratch the itch of the parent at home with kids who is going through boredom? How do I scratch the itch of people who have beautiful items they're not wearing or using? How do I encourage them to do it that doesn't sound like, please wear our stuff so you can buy more of our stuff, right? Actually, that would be kind of interesting. Go to your closets and take your 4 favorite shirts and rip them up and make them into rags. I don't know. That would be an interesting mindset. But in any event, Siobhan, I hope that helps, because the idea is we have got to find a way to get out of this. Well, we're all on Zoom. We're not doing anything. Well, then tell people don't be on Zoom and be that prophetic voice. That's kind of me, All right. Arissa says, October 16th is my shop's 10th birthday. Congratulations. I plan on having a big social media campaign. I was going to take a celebrity trip abroad, have a big party at the shop, but of course that fell through. Any ideas how to make it special for staff and myself? Well, the easiest way is to have your loyal fans, your shoppers, submit a video of their favorite gift they bought from you, or someone who got it to submit it. And that becomes content that you can then share in various times. You could have a lead up of 10 days coming into it. Where were you on October 16th? That was the day that the Chile miners, I did a quick search, got rescued. That was a great worldwide. That was a feeling of hope. I would tie into that, the idea of rescuing ourselves during this time and our mindset and giving hope. I hope that helps. Top fan Whitney says, how do you feel Christmas shopping will start? Do you feel Christmas shopping will start a lot earlier this year? I absolutely do. I've had a number of customers already shopping for Christmas. Exactly. And if so, how early do we put Christmas merch out? Actually, one of our earlier salesmen just before you had taken my advice. Again, you can put it in a corner in the back. I don't care. It doesn't have to have the big tree and playing music and all that. Just have it out, because if it's in the stockroom, it's not going to sell. She's already sold out of several things because she was saying how grandmothers, if they see it, they buy it. And Heidi, you're on this call as well. The idea of the bitch and buy. Why the hell do you have Christmas out? I'll take two. And so just remember that if you can take somebody's money now in August, then and they're here, it's much better to take it now than to ever hear, I'll be back. Because they won't be back, and someone else will get that 20, that 50, that 80, that $100, and you won't. So when I say just get it out there, and it's never too early. I know I'll be flamed on Facebook, but so what? Bill, do you think there's a future for someone that is 51 and just getting into a shift lead position at a gas convenience store? Bill, I think the opportunity is always there for everybody. I can tell you that when I got my first job I was finishing my degree in college, and I ended up taking a job at that time. I think it was $2.35 an hour, but with the promise of commission. I ended up riding that all the way to become a district manager, bought my first house because of it. And yet to me, it wasn't a part-time job. It's like, this is a step to get me somewhere else. I think if you look at it that way, whatever you're looking at, whatever it is, you just have to look at, I'm grateful that whatever I've got, I'm going to make a go of it. You know, it's the old story of the guy who they're building Rockefeller Center, and he comes up to somebody, he goes, what are you doing? He goes, I'm laying bricks. And the other guy said, I'm building a skyscraper. Attitude is everything. I don't care what you do. The attitude we have and why we're doing it, and then saying, I see my future. This is a way to get me there. I think that makes a big difference. I hope that helps, Bill. Peter, we put out our snowflake pendant out yesterday. You see, exactly. And I bet you probably sold some, or you're going to sell as well. Debbie, exactly. We've been gearing up. We keep ours out year round. Oh, okay. But as a solid summer thing. Hazim says, if I ask you on dealing with bad reviews in an efficient manner, do you have a step-by-step instruction general? Hazim, it's very simple. You just said that my product sucks and you hate me. I would then comment, oh, Hazim, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's acknowledge them. I don't see what product it is, but that's always distressing. Acknowledge there was a problem. Please contact me at the store. You can call. There's a phone number. Or you can email with an email. We always look to improve our processes. Done. There's your step-by-step. Hope that helps. Justin, making that commitment to being successful goes along with stay hungry. That's exactly right, Justin. The problem is so many people are settling because they say, well, this is as good as it gets. Well, you know what? You don't know how high up is. Right now, competitors are leaving left and right, and the story is going to be consolidation and mergers and all sorts of stuff. But I'll tell you, the green shoots are already starting to show up, that as these malls are emptying out of the big brands, local brands are going to find a new main street that they're going to be able to go to at an affordable price, and they're going to rebuild the malls into something much more dynamic as they break down parts of them. You know, I know when I was in Alaska not that long ago, one of the biggest malls had their government office in it, had the library, and had medical offices and a movie theater and a grocery store. It was like uber brilliant. I think we're going to see more of those things. All right. Ryan, it seems like every day more and more customers are inquiring how our store is doing since opening back up. In our case, sales have been up, but we don't want to sound arrogant when people are struggling. We don't want to be spreading a negative message either. What's an appropriate response? That's a great question, Ryan. I think you always want to pivot, and I think you always want to know, what do I want them to do or no? We're doing okay. Nobody's inspired by that. We're doing great. You're lying, right? So I would just say, like everybody, we've been impacted by COVID. Thanks for asking. We're grateful you're here and hope that you'll tell your friends to come visit us. Simple. but your goal is, I want to get this person to take it, that it's up to them in a nice way, not, oh, downtown's been decimated, it really sucks. In fact, if you go on my site, if you go to retaildoc.com, you can sign up for our free Reopening with Trust, and there's a whole thing on how to pivot conversations, which will unpack exactly how you should do that. Karen says, do I bring in merch for fall and fourth quarter? Will we get a second wave, and are we stocked? And then stocked full? This is exhausting. Karen, I wish I had the answer. Nobody knows, but I would tell you, I would actually rather leave a sale on the table. That means miss it because you don't have the product, then have a glut of product that you've got to try to discount because of something happening or you made a bad buy. So I think it is very important for everybody to say, be very conservative now, and I can guarantee your vendors are going to come back with programs in October, November when they see things opening up and we get back to business. Hey, Roberta, I wanted to thank you for my my mask you sent me, which is what she sells at Roberta Weisberg Wet Leathers. That's part of her beautiful logo. We typically have a sneak peek trunk show with pre-order for our best jewelry line in our very small, awkwardly shaped store 2 to 3 times a year. We usually have 10 to 15 of our best hitters with us for the event with refreshments, but our rep has a new collection. I'm just not comfortable bringing people together. I can try to schedule people, but any suggestions? Well, I would say you can queue them up to wait outside in comfy chairs to be social, at 6 feet across. Again, it's weather dependent, but I'd rent a tent. I'd do anything I could. Maybe they're going to drive up. You're going to have your parking lot. They're going to drive up, and they're going to be able to have virtual personal consultations through the windows. Again, you're not talking 1,000 people, so that's certainly possible. But I would always look at how do you have both virtual and in person so that you don't miss anybody. And maybe you're going to hold it in a ballroom. You could easily do this, stationing things out there. But whatever it is, Roberta, you still have to just decide, I'm still going to do this. I'm going to find a way to bring the best things about having our in-person event into this new world, and I'm going to do even better. And then search stories of people who are doing that, stories of success of people. In fact, I have a blog I'm working on today that'll go out tonight, 7 things that retailers are doing, smart retailers are doing right now, 5 months into COVID. So there might be some options for you there as well. Don't underestimate the power of local influencers as well. Jim, more people are using credit debit cards and the fees are eating us up. The payment processing takes away any profit. Or any small business adding a fee to cover those charges? Jim, you generally cannot do that in your agreements with Visa, MasterCard, and the rest. And honestly, if you're telling me that credit card charges are eating up your profit, then you are underpricing your materials. Ultimately, you can raise something by $1 or $5 and most people on your best items and no one noticed. But this is an old saw that retailers have used forever. It's the bank's fault that I'm not making money. It's your fault. Sorry, Jim. At the end of the day, get some sales training and understand you got to build the ticket and you've got to build margin and you've got to build the add-ons and you got to get people to have such a legendary customer service they can't help but express to their friends, holy crap, you have to go back there and visit them. Anything less, and I think you're stepping over dollars to try to save pennies, and I just don't agree with that. So rather than put you into a big rant on that, I hope that helps you. Quick question. Any questions coming in? George, I'm watching from the Philippines. I enjoyed listening and taking notes on your topic. That's worth watching. Well, that's good to hear as well. Again, if you're just joining me, you can always type in yes. You can if you agree with something, you can always give me love if you're on Facebook, or you could give me that. And if you're on LinkedIn right now, you can also just give me the little applause motion, because ultimately the algorithms are only showing this to people who actually engage with me. So when you don't engage, it means it's less likely for me to want to do more of these things, because ultimately I'm not charging you to be here. And even though an awful lot of people have told me, oh, you should be charging for this and it's access only, ultimately that doesn't help you get over this. My goal is to be your hero, whether you're a big retailer, a medium size, or a small retailer, as we move through this and find this new retail. And I don't think it's a scary place. I think we're going to find more connections. We're going to find more ways to not have to go to work and do the same damn thing every day. And wouldn't that be exciting in retail? We're going to find more engaged employees because it's a fun place to work instead of in a call center. And it's ultimately going to be more rewarding for everybody, because if you can get your margins and you get sales training and you create an exceptional experience, you're able to live the life that you want instead of working in a job that doesn't pay you back. It's kind of like having a kid that is in diapers all the time and never goes to college, right? So that's it. And, shameless plug, if you are still on the fence about joining SalesRx, I have no idea why you wouldn't. We have 100 lessons of how to engage the stranger, discover the shopper, and yes, make a sale. I had Maureen, who's been with us for off and on for years, talked about, just sent me a note. We're up over 20%. She's in a tourist region, which we're hearing that tourism has been impacted overall, and she is still making it, and she's still loving it because she said it's a matter of being able to know your numbers and increase those conversions. We just had somebody sign up just on Friday. He's watched these for me for a couple of years, gets my newsletters, has understood everything. He goes, now I got to take action. I've got to actually commit to doing this. And I hope you'll do that. You can go to salesrx.com, or you can set up for a demo. I can go through it with you. But ultimately, unless you're willing to change, being brilliant on the basics is creating an exceptional experience. And let me tell you something. People don't go out of their house for things they could easily get in their house, right? I don't have to go out to a movie right now because I can get it on Netflix. I don't have to go out for food. It'll be delivered to me. But what I can't get is an emotion. I can't get a feeling. I can't get a connection. I can't feel I matter. So many people are struggling with depression and anxiety right now because they feel they don't matter. They aren't getting any positive stimulus coming in. And that's going to happen in a retail store, but it doesn't happen by accident. When you have employees who are sitting here looking at their phone most of the time, can I help you find something? Let me know. That's not something I need to go out of my house with and risk getting COVID or something else. Ultimately, it's up to you to figure it out. And I'm here to partner with you because we're training tens of thousands of people around the world on how to engage a stranger, discover the shopper, and make the customer. Why aren't you making that? Look in the mirror today and say, why is it? Just say, why is it that I think that I have this? I don't need to know this anymore. Why do I think that I'm successful? And you're going to say, our customers love us. That's the people you already know love you. What about the new customer? Oh, we have more than enough business. Really? So you're selling defensively. You're probably just get them out the door, and you're not upselling, and you're not finding out the additional opportunities you have. Oh, we're in the service business. You know what? Service businesses are the same thing. It's really a price competitive motion. In fact, I had Mary Grace, our head of customer experience. She's moving from Houston to North Carolina. And she was talking about how she was calling up people, and all of them kept coming down to price. Oh, it'll cost X amount. And she's like, is that guaranteed? Well, no, it might go up. Yeah, I'll have to think. Well, we can knock $100 off. And they were so desperate for it. And the mover that she called, the last mover she called, he said, please tell me what's important for you to find in a mover. She goes, oh, they have to be detailed. They have to this. And that guy got the sale because ultimately he made a connection. That energy he brought to it was, we're going to make this easy. I want to talk about you, not about me. And that's really what makes difference. So I encourage you to go to SalesRx, SalesRx.com. You can find out more. Last question for the day. Thanks for staying with me the whole time. I really appreciate that. Deidre says, we are moving our store, a very large multi-room boutique. We'd planned to build a 2-story building in a strip mall, but when COVID hit, potential renters backed out. So we decided to break our store up into 5 independent stores representing the 5 departments we had, men's, etc. My question is, our customers are used to a punch card and gift certificates for one store. What's the best way to transition into their understanding that we want the stores to be independent of each other so the punch cards would not be universal? Or is that asking too much? So Deidre, customer experience comes first. Training customers never works. So I would say, if you are already seeing this, why would you do it? And I have to tell you that I believe punch cards are a notion from the 80s, and most major retailers have gotten away from all of that because they can be easily duplicated. You have a disgruntled employee, they punch a bunch and hand them out, and there's no tracking, there's nothing digital. If anything we've learned is that most retailers have looked out 5 years and said, these are the initials we want to do in 5 years, they've done them in 5 weeks. So anything that you can do to connect things under your POS and have digital tracking your CRM, those make sense. But holding on to something that worked maybe in the 70s, or maybe you heard it some guy who's like, oh, this always worked for us back when I was a kid. Hey, there's a reason why most retailers have gotten rid of those, because it's fraud and they can't track it and they don't get the information they need. So there you go. Let's see if there's any new comments. I'm about to get off the phone, off the Facebook, LinkedIn Live. If you have any questions here. Rose says, what are your predictions for resale stores in the future? I don't know, women's fashion accessories. Rose, it's not really my market. So I would say that millennials are going to continue, and Gen Z are going to continue to power the resale market. The question becomes, again, with all of these one-offs, when ThreadUp and these other guys are all doing it, what is the upside for you? And I don't think anybody knows that. So I hope that helps. There you go, LoringSalesRx.com. Breda, thank you for giving up your time on Sunday. Bob, brilliant as always. You're sweet. Thanks so much for that. So I just want to go all the way back to the beginning and just remind you that we are about as successful as the 5 people we hang out with. And so just ask yourself, when you're feeling anxious, stressed, who are your 5 people that you're listening to? That could even be a TV personality, right? And how are they helping you either create the life that you want and need, or be afraid of the life that is standing in front of you? You know, the person who says they can't and the person that says they can, you know what? They're both right. And I appreciate you being here with me on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. when I answer your questions live on both LinkedIn now and Facebook. And if you want to do me a favor, you can tell your friends and you can share this video to try to be that life. I'm out to be the hero in your life for retail. Just help me do it and spread the message. It's not all doom and gloom. We're about as happy as we make our minds up to be. And you're going to end up realizing that dream you set for 6 months, for 2 years from now, being a reality. You'll send me a note and say, hey, I learned this when I was listening to you. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you next week.